Hey everybody, today we are talking about Happy Gilmore 2, the long-awaited sequel to the 1996 Adam Sandler movie, a movie that had hard slapstick, a solid emotional payoff, wrapped in absurdity. I remember watching this movie as a kid. I really loved Happy Gilmore. I actually saw Happy Gilmore and then I watched X-Men and then I watched Happy Gilmore after. I was probably like 11 years old. And I watched these both on DVD. It was such a childhood memory. I think Happy Gilmore is a childhood memory for everyone. It's a movie that's just absurd. I feel like a lot of the movies I watched as kids, we all watched when we were kids, were just like zany movies. I think of the Jim Carrey movies like Ace Ventura. They're movies that don't really make sense. In a way, they feel like Brainrot. At least Happy Gilmore does. That's what I want to talk about today. Because unfortunately, I thought this movie felt more like a commercial product than a real film. I still think this is a fun movie to watch. I had a lot of fun watching it. But I just wanted to talk about why Happy Gilmore 2 isn't just really a bad comedy. It's just a sign of a larger problem with how mainstream comedy movies are being written today. But before, we dive into all that, I just want to say that this is a movie I had a lot of fun watching. It just depends on the mood you're in. Like, if you want to sit down and watch a really serious movie, this is not that film. But I watched this on a plane and I was perfectly in the mood to just watch a movie that would keep me occupied, and it was a lot of fun. But it's still objectively a terrible movie, and just one that I saw so many problems in. And I think there's ways this can be better, so let's talk about that. Let's start with the story. The premise is basic. Happy is now an alcoholic widower. He's coaxed back into the world of golf to fund his daughter's expensive dance school tuition. Now, a setup like that has real potential. Themes of redemption, family, legacy, even grief. But the movie avoids all that. And, of course, these movies are conflict-free. That's probably why everyone loves these Adam Sandler movies, because there's really no conflict or no, strong emotion. There's moments like that in bedtime stories, but those movies fail and they're not that popular. So I see why movies avoid that. But there's ways you can insert this without ruining that, or without kind of turning the theme too much. The emotional engine should be this father-daughter relationship, but the daughter is introduced and sidelined within minutes. Seriously, the daughter's introduced, they introduce this dance school thing, and then it's just that's the goal. There needs to be more built into this. There's no meaningful bond development. Then there's his 5 sons. They're basically just there to make penis jokes and fart jokes, which again we expect from these Adam Sandler movies, but they don't build anything clever into that. These kids exist purely to deliver crude, lazy humor, which could be fine if it served any narrative purpose, or if it built towards something more meaningful. But so much else in this movie, it doesn't. And the big issue is the comedy. Happy Gilmore 2 is obsessed with gag density, not gag quality. The film's just stuffed with jokes. Fart jokes, penis jokes, drinking jokes, but none of them have setups or payoffs. Jokes just exist. They appear, they linger, and they disappear. A perfect example of this is Happy's alcohol problem. There's a running gag where everyday objects are actually hidden flasks. There's a cucumber, a golf club, a clock, even a phone. It's bizarre. And it could be a great Chekhov's gun moment, if it ever went anywhere, but it doesn't. The gag just fizzles. No twist, no climax, no emotional fallout, nothing. And I get it. People probably just say it's an Adam Sandler movie. What do you expect? But there's great comedy that can do so much more with a concept like this. South Park. Even the dumbest fart joke is often in service of something more, satire, character development, thematic irony. American Dad is one of my favorite shows, and it's still airing right now. I love this show. And it always has absurdism and crude humor, but it has these structured, internally consistent worlds with solid joke architecture. That is a show that I always watch, and they always, every minute, have something that's so clever, or just a funny joke that builds on the next thing. Everything in this movie is just noise. It's just really just distractions. It feels like it's built for a TikTok audience. And now I want to talk about how, there's cameos in this movie. So many cameos. This movie's littered with them. Travis Kelce, Bad Bunny, who actually has a pretty significant role in this movie. I don't want to call his role a cameo. Guy Fieri, the Hot Ones guy, Sean something, Ben Stiller. He also has kind of a role in this. On paper, these are fun, especially in a self-aware comedy. But in this movie, to me, they're empty calories. None of them build character or contribute to the plot. They're just here to make you point and say, I know them. It's not the same clever integration If you watch like Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, there's cameos and meta humor. It's built into the film's DNA. In Happy Gilmore 2, it's just like commercial gimmicks, content, not comedy. They pick these actors who are famous and they just throw them in. I, again, have fun watching it. I'm just trying to point out that this isn't really necessarily funny. It's not a movie that I'm laughing out loud watching. It's fun and safe to watch, but it's not exactly hilarious or brilliant or groundbreaking. And I guess that's fine, but that's just what the issue is. And another thing I had an issue with is the inconsistency and lazy pacing. It has a huge consistency issue. Moments that like should be big are brushed over like it's nothing. And again, people are going to say it's an Adam Sandler movie, but I think the jokes could pay off more. And that's when I mentioned American Dad, which would totally have a setup and a payoff with a joke like this. In this movie, a man's literally eaten by alligators, and the film moves on like it was nothing. That kind of absurdity can be hilarious if the movie is using it to make a point or flip expectations, but this film constantly ignores its own setups. Even a simple plot beat like Shooter McGavin turning from a villain to ally is never really properly explored. He's just on Happy's team now because the other guy, played by Benny Safdie, in a great performance, is worse. There's just no growth, no internal struggle, no arc, which is fine. They do have a really great shot of this guy reading a first cover edition of The Shining, though, in a mental institution, and he's been in there for 29 years. It's comedy gold waiting to be mined. But again, it's just no real setup, no payoff, just a shift because the script said so. I thought this movie, like, it is funny. It is a movie that, like, makes me, like, kind of, like, smirk with how dumb some stuff is. But it isn't great. Like, there's so much more that could be done, and you can kind of see it in these scenes that just exist in this kind of brain rot realm of, like, you could see a meme format or kind of, like, text being put over it. There's nothing really impressive here. I think because they want to keep people watching this, and they know people don't want anything too intelligent, which is what I mean when I'm talking about comedy without purpose. You can make a dumb comedy with heart. There's a movie, One of Them Days, that did this earlier this year. It was a film that juggled slapstick, cringe, buddy comedy dynamics, but it still managed to say something. It had tone, it had structure, it knew what it wanted to be. Happy Gilmore 2 doesn't really do anything. It's just content. It's the equivalent of walking around a Comic-Con with no purpose. You're just soaking in random spectacle with no direction. Sure, the alligator's funny, sure the cameos are cool, but what does it really add up to? Nothing. Adam Sandler kind of phones it in, but he's also not really doing anything new. He's just himself. It's fine. Chris McDonald is really great. I really liked him in this. I thought Benny Safdie was so good as Frank Manatee. You can tell the actors are just being themselves, and they're trying, but you can't polish a script that doesn't really have a story. Like, Happy Gilmore 2 isn't the worst movie ever made at all. It's just, like, a frustrating kind of bit, the kind that squanders potential. It could have been a heartfelt, silly, nostalgic film about grief, redemption, and the absurdity of golf culture. Instead, it's a Netflix original that's built with cameos, brainrot jokes, and zero interest in being coherent or meaningful. It's not really comedy, it's content. It's a content unit built to trend on TikTok. It's not really meant to entertain or resonate, and therefore the story doesn't really have to have a structure. Like, comedy can be stupid, it can be messy, it can be vulgar, but it still needs structure, tone, and intent. Otherwise, you're not making people laugh, you're just trying to make them distracted. And look, guys, like I said, I like these kind of movies. I like dumb, fun, brainrot movies. They can be kind of nostalgic. I watched this movie and I thought it was fun in a way. I don't mind movies that are just stupid and conflict free. I'm just giving examples of how they can improve. It's very easy to make a movie that's stupid and doesn't take itself seriously, but it's a nice and rare surprise when you actually get some thoughtful comedy. And so it's fun fluff. It actually might be the perfect kind of audience that'll love to watch this on TikTok. But I think we deserve better, or at least the masses who consume this could actually be subjected to some real comedy. So see you in the next one, guys.